Oh, mercy! You are listening to the SurgeCast on whatever podcasting network you download this stuff on.
A part of the Hockey Podcast Network.
Canes fans, you're listening to SurgeCast, the second best podcast out there.
Follow us on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Now, let's get into the episode. Such a great intro. I need to use that more often. Welcome in, everyone, to the SurgeCast. Got a
second best podcast.
Second best Canes podcast out there. Sorry, Zach. Seems like Lockdown is still getting on the podium in this discussion, per Shane Willis. Since we're in the Olympic talk, be a part of our episode today, recapping the Olympics so far, how the Canes have done over in Italy. A little bit of a preview, predictions now that we're down to the semifinals. But the big news, Brandon Bussi here for another 3 years. And when Kat told me the number, I thought that was a signing bonus. I thought she misread something. 3 years, $1.9 million AAV extension for Brandon Bussi. Eric Tulsky is cooking right now. What a deal.
I told you it was going to be, because everyone was like, resign him, which is, of course, that would be what you'd want to do. But even with his games that he's been winning and how well he's been playing, he's technically still an quote unquote unproven. So like you want to have him around because you want to bet on the guy, but you also don't want to bet on a little bit more of an unknown. So the deal makes sense because again, like as well as he's been playing, you can't go all in on someone where you're like, I don't know if this is just like how he's playing now. This is how he typically will play. But if it does stick around with how, like if he stays on the trajectory that he is, not only does the deal make sense, it looks outstanding. I mean, what do you say, Zach?
I don't know how much more of a nail this out of the park you can get on a deal like this, because you're talking $5.7 million total for the entire deal. Like you guys said, 1.9 million AAV. I predicted like a few weeks ago on multiple platforms, $2.5-3 million per season, 2 or 3 years. Like got the term right, predicted 2 or 3. Little short on the or a little high on the AAV on my side of things, but 1.9, that's an absolute steal, and it sets you up perfectly for next season. Because you look at Piotr's $2 million, Brandon's 1.9, you're talking 3.9 million for your tandem. That's insanely good to have for the Carolina Hurricanes. And the thing is, he becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of when he's 31 at the end of the 28-29 season. So in reality, if he keeps playing well, who says you don't give him another extension to go to what, 34, 35? Boom. You could potentially have your goalie for the next, what? Let's see, he's 27 now. So like what, another 7-8 years that you could have this guy if he keeps playing well. I know it's a long way away in the future, but that is a possibility because now you're betting on him. He's betting on himself. I mean, he had a 1-year, $775,000 deal this year with the Panthers, and he was going to go play in Charlotte, and now you go to a $1.8 million extension. That's absolutely fantastic, and it's a win on both sides, and you know, you're just happy you get Brandon Bussi staying here long term, and for him, he said it was a no-brainer. Like, why would I want to leave? Like, that just makes sense. And then if anyone heard it on the Storm Report with Walt, he asked some of the guys, and the guys are ecstatic that he's staying in Raleigh. Like, they love playing him, you know, in front of him. And the fact that I think Jalen Chatfield said it sets us up perfectly for the next few seasons to keep him in this locker room. So, yeah, this is fantastic. And I love, too, the Hurricanes actually donated $10,000 to, I think it was the Society of North Carolina or something like that. So that's great, too, that the Hurricanes were able to, you know, do a little bit of a donation to a cause like that because, you know, with his relationship with his brother and all of that. So it's just overall, this is just fantastic. You love it. You love it on all sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's an A+ deal. And Zach, going into those numbers, I did some digging in Puckpedia. Brandon Bussi alone, currently for next season, he is going to be the 44th highest paid goaltender for the 26-27 season. And when you combine the salaries of Piotr with that $3.9 million amount, $3.9 million for your 1A, 1B options, your tandem in the 2026-27 season, that'll put you at the 29th highest goaltender salary. So
and that's for your tandem. That's your tandem is 29th highest in the league, and he's 44th. Insane to think about that you're in that range on one goalie by himself and your entire team. Like there's goalies who are getting paid, I think, almost triple what those two guys on loan are making at $3.9 million. Like that's insane to think about. And we could have saw that this season if Peter didn't have to have his hip surgery. But imagine those two next year, because I mean, Rich, I know we've talked about it for free agency. The goalie market this past summer and this upcoming summer, not great at all. So if you're talking about you're locked up your tandem for next season, then it's kind of, what's going to happen with Piotr moving forward. That's, something to figure out later in the future. But you're kind of locked into your goalies. And now it's, do you bring Keenan Primo back to be your 3, or do you find someone else? But at least your 1A, 1B, you're already set. And it's February 19th when this comes out. Okay, great. Fantastic. We're already good there. Nothing to worry about in terms of goalies for your tandem for next season.
Kat, what do you think of those numbers?
I like those numbers, considering last pod I was joking and I was semi-joking, talking about Bob, and Bob alone makes 10. So
and who knows what he's going to make now in free agency at was it 37? Here's $7.5 million. Do you want to come play for 1 year? No, we are goalies for less than 4.
And which is amazing, an absolute masterclass by Eric Tulsky, because now when you look at the cap projections per Puckpedia, the Canes are projected to have a little over $14 million in cap space this offseason. That's even before the likely Jesperi Kotkaniemi trade, which would free up an extra $4 million. So really all you have to do this offseason is re-sign Alexander Nikishin. And the rest of that money is essentially going towards your superstar. I know you have to have guys here and there, see if you're keeping Mark Jankowski, but overall, you have space to truly make that home run signing that you've always wanted to. And I know I joke about Bedard, not only him, but when you look at that RFA class, the Canes have all their top 3 picks in 2027. 27. They have all that cap space. You can I think Tulsky makes a legitimate offer to one of those higher end RFAs, your Jason Robertson, your Connor Bedard, your Adam Fent, at least Leo Carlson is on that list as well. I think Tulsky takes a huge swing depending on how the trade deadline goes.
I do think that he's prepping for that. Again, I think those are big swings come a little bit after definitely not the trade with how we've been going and like what's available. But yeah, I definitely think going into the offseason, we're gonna see what Tulsky's really cooking up. But I know we're gonna get into this, and so I might be jumping a little bit too early. But talking about our goaltending, what's really funny is we're talking about the upcoming like goaltenders availability and all of that. I'm not gonna be surprised if the NHL, after watching the Olympics, is going to want that Swiss goalie, Giannoni, I think is how you say his last name. But good grief. That is a goaltender that I'm sure a lot of NHL teams right now are like, can we get that guy, please? But it's been, obviously, we've been seeing a lot of our NHL goalies throughout it. I've getting Hellebuck's playing. We've got Saros, Markstrom, Binnington, Anderson, Grubauer, like all of that. But to see another, like, a goalie that you're not as familiar with, and he's doing so exceedingly well, like especially against like top players too. Going into that goalie market, I'm wondering what the NHL teams are looking around like, who can we grab? Because the Canes found a diamond in the rough with Brandon Bussi, so I'm sure other teams are like, what can we do now?
Yeah, and like you guys said too, like you're talking about a lot of caps because you go from 95 and a half to over 104 next year. This thing could hit 105. Like we could be looking at a 9.5 to potentially a $10 million jump. Like you said, Rich, there's RFA guys to look at. There's unrestricted free agents because we all know the Hurricanes really make their bigger splash moves in the summer. Kat, you know this too. Like that's you might get the addition. Like, I think Mika Rantanen is probably the first guy we ever made a legit home run swing for, and it had a pivot on. But point being is, I think they're still going to make a move at the deadline, but I think the bigger splash, that's definitely going to happen in the summer. I would also not rule out there could be some, like, we are having guys go into the last year to their contracts next season, like Jalen Schaff, Villacek, Gostisbehere. I haven't heard anything, but I wouldn't say this would not happen, but I would not be surprised if maybe there's possible extensions as well for a lot of these guys going into the last year of their deals, because they're still on the right side of their age, and there could be something there too. Like I said, I haven't heard anything, but it's just I would not rule those out.
There's no way Jordan Martinook does not extend come July 1st at midnight. Dude, that contract, the ink won't even be dried on that contract by the time.
And it's gonna be friendly as hell.
I said defense, but hey, Martin could work too. So bring it, run it back, run the whole
with
team
the
back
season with the season Ghost has had, even though it's been plagued with injuries, I could see him definitely getting having some offer. Of course, the injuries are going to tie into it a little bit more, but I would see them wanting to run back with him for sure.
I think Walt said, I think this is a 261 game man lost this year. Like, is an insane amount. So yeah, even with Ghost having a year full of injuries, which is I think the first time I've seen him get injured this much. I don't know how you would not run it back with him again, because you know how good he is, and that's a great power play quarterback to have. I know we're jumping the gun on a lot of preseason or off-season talk and stuff like that, but we're just kind of putting it out there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these moves, but yeah, it's just the Bussi extension has really opened up a lot of avenues for the Hurricanes to just build on already a great roster that's tied for first in the East for next year. I know that's a next year thing, but this deal, yeah, it's really set the Hurricanes up perfectly for 26, 27 and beyond, especially in the goalie market where you got a goalie locked up for 3 more seasons, and you kind of just hope for your 1B on the back end of that. Hopefully it's Piotr, but time will tell.
Yeah, fantastic cap management by Eric Tulsky. Even if you look at the Stanks extension, Jackson Blake extension, no one's making over $10 million on this team, setting the Canes up for the long haul as the cap continues to increase over time. One of those guys that probably won't get an extension now, Frederik Andersen, as we jump ahead to the Olympic recap. And shout out to Quant Hockey for the stats, because apparently there's no other database that exists for Olympic hockey, which I think is insane. But still,
you can't even really get replays. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, the IIHF website, it'll give you the stats, but you have to go jump to team pages and
go game by game. It was awful.
Yeah,
shout out Quant Hockey for all these stats. So Denmark, starting with Freddie Andersen. Again, Denmark has been bounced from the Olympics, lost the qualification playoff game, to Czechia. I fucked that up too. I can't pronounce it.
It's Czechia.
It's fine. I kept wanting to say Czech Republic, so you're fine.
Needless to say, Freddie kind of not like Freddie, but not the best performance, especially with the team in front of him. He was 1-2 in the Olympic Games, 2.75 goals against average, a 913 save percentage. However, though, we have to talk about the Germany game, because he let in a goal within the first minute, and I saw the funniest quote tweet of all time where someone goes, "Oh, a goal in the opening minute of the Olympics. That's fun. I wonder who's in net. Oh, dear God." And it was a Canes fan reacting.
At least he didn't get injured. At least he didn't get injured. That's what I'm grateful for.
I mean, to give credit to Freddie, that the record isn't great, but a 2.75 goals against and what did you say, a 9-13 or something like that, Rich? That's not bad. That's still a good save percentage. There's other goalies in the tournament with goals against averages over 4 or 5. I'm not going to kill Freddie for a 2.7 something. It is what it is. And it did take Denmark to their last game of their group stage to get a win to be the 3 seed out of the Group C. So it's either you get Czechia or you get I forget who Latvia played in that first round, but I think regardless of the fact, yeah, it's just it is what it is. They got to win. Freddie played well. Outside of the record, his numbers are good. Yeah, Nikola Ehlers played great. At least Fly really stood out for Denmark.
Yeah, and I'm also glad he didn't get injured because he had a lot of ice time, and he even had a slight collision with Slavin. So glad that we all got out of that unscathed.
Yeah, Kane on King crime.
Yeah, four games played, a goal, 2 assists for Nick Ehlers. He was a +3 in the tournament. Also, fun fact: none of the 4 Canes with a penalty. So they all the way in Italy, they still hear Rod saying, "Don't commit a penalty."
Mm-hmm.
Funny how they don't commit any penalties in international play, but if it's NHL standards, you're to the box. Oh, you're Jacob Slavin. Now you're fine. You do nothing wrong. You don't go to the box unless it's a dog poke. Then it's is what it is.
0 for potential future Kane Brady Tkachuk. Also, while we're on these numbers, though, fun fact: 29 for Tom Wilson. things to laugh about. Those are some numbers.
If there was going to be someone that found a way to fight in the Olympics, it was going to be Wilson, finding the Wilson of France.
Who got suspended by his own federation?
Yeah.
By his own federation.
Crazy work. But it was interesting today. So I guess we'll jump into the scores and stuff for today. Am I good to?
Well, I'm just jumping into Sebastian Aho, which fits perfectly into this conversation and the rest of the guys playing.
Okay. Yeah. So while Denmark has been sent home, we do have the top 4 teams are now playing. We've got Canada is going to be against Finland, and we've got the U.S. against Slovakia. With Jarvis, Aho, and Slavin all moving forward. The boys here did not really get a chance because they were working to see those crazy quarterfinal games. But I heard that the players really wanted to go to OT for every single game. So that is what they gave us.
Not Slovakia, though. Slovakia is like...
Well, they knew no one was awake watching that, so that's fine. They were like, Leon Draisaitl cannot carry this team all by himself, and they were correct.
Always the bridesmaid.
Sick to their stomachs.
Crazy chirp. But yeah, so honestly, everyone's been kind of up in kind of a little apprehensive about how the U.S. has been playing, if they're going to play well enough to get to Canada. But honestly, I think Canada had the biggest scare today because when they were playing Marty Necas, ex-Kane Marty Necas, and all of them, Czechia actually was able to be in the lead for quite a bit and put them into overtime with Sidney Crosby being injured, unfortunately, as Radka Gudas does. But that meant, on a weirdly positive note, it's never positive when Crosby goes out. I will very much clarify that. But on a weirdly positive note, Jarvis got more ice time because of that. And our own Seth Jarvis got his first Olympic assist.
You love to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So quickly on that, sorry. His ice time has jumped up by 2 minutes a game from the first game that he played in. Mm-hmm. So he's now averaging around 10.5 minutes of ice time. So again, it sucks that Sid had to get injured for it to happen, but I'm glad that he is at least getting prioritized in that Canadian system over the likes of the Sam Bennetts of the world.
And there was a lot of when Canada was down and they were kind of struggling to get back into their groove of how they do things because they haven't been down in I don't know how many games.
It was over 800 minutes. It was over 800 minutes before they got their first deficit.
There was a lot of life though to that fourth line, Jarvis's line, and he with that assist, but he was drawing. He drew the first penalty of the game. He got the assist. And honestly, you could just see him up and down the ice. And towards the end, when Crosby got injured, a lot of the announcers were like, that's kind of interesting. They kept Jarvis in, so now he's getting more ice time. But you would want to have someone like Bennett in there, another center, and has that the cup experience and all of that. Like, it's kind of confusing. You don't have him in there. And listen, I love Seth Jarvis, and I will gladly say that I will be the number one Seth Jarvis fan and will defend him because he is our player. But I can see the understanding behind it of why, because if you already have Tom Wilson and you've had some penalty minutes going back and forth here and there, why would you put another guy in there that's going to kind of cause something like that when instead you have a guy that works both ways up and down, isn't defensive liability? You could put him, and I think towards the end they did put him a little bit on the penalty kill. But why would you take an all over player? And then, like, yeah, Sam Bennett can do things, but you're also putting in another aggravator when you're in a tournament that doesn't want that. Like, they literally punish you for fighting. They really escalate the penalties. So I will say I understand why you put Seth Jarvis in over him because he's so versatile, but I am also, again, maybe a little biased.
If you're gonna put Sam Bennett in, then you gotta take Tom Wilson out. Like, you can't double down on the aggregations. It's like you gotta make sure you have the right guys that you need to. And it's great that Seth got the minutes finally. It's crazy that it's like, oh, he gets an extra 2 minutes of ice time and it comes to 10. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy minutes. It's like a fourth line, go out there for 8 minutes a game and be like, cool, I guess. It's just it just harkens back to Four Nations, and it's gonna be okay. Here's Seth Jarvis for his 8 minutes a game because whatever reason we're gonna slap him to the fourth line and let that line never do a thing. It's crazy to me how they do. I understand you got a lot of other big boys on the top 9 of your lineup, but like, good grief, at least have some resemblance of 4 lines that's going to work. But hey, you know what? Canada took care of business. It was kind of crazy. And honestly, the biggest story out of this entire tournament is the fact that we got the good old Canadian boys team up with a Cassidy Gray and making all this content with Seth and just them in general. It's just like, how can you not enjoy his friends just kind of just bringing the content game to another level? It's been so fun to watch. Like, an
Very
instant follow on Instagram. Oh,
Very
they're so
entertaining.
What's in Milan? It's just Seth standing there waving. That was absolutely fantastic. And now they got, like I said, they got Cassidy Gray staying for extra games now because that's a whole thing between them and Hockey Canada. Like name a friend group that got, pretty much as famous as their friend who plays in the NHL, like Seth Jarvis and his buddies. It's crazy, but just try to keep it with that Czechia Canada game. That was wild.
And you knew, unfortunately,
coming to overtime.
Yeah, and you knew, unfortunately, when it went to overtime, it was kind of solidified because if you're going to go 3-on-3 and you're going to go 3-on-3 with Canada
for 10 minutes too, that's nuts.
A lot. That's a lot. And I know a lot of people, that is their argument for the format of the Olympics, is that you're going to that 3-on-3 instead of overtime, staying the full team on team. Because I understand that argument. Obviously in the NHL, you're trying to get through. You've got a lot of games. You prefer the 3-on-3 over a shootout. But I understand in the Olympics where it's like, you've got limited games, you've got the best on the best, like, let them go full on best. Why would you push them to 3-on-3 so quickly? And again, it felt a little decided when it got to that point, but good on Czechia.
I do like the 10-minute 3-on-3 rather than the 5, because at least it actually make you do something. Not like, oh, we can kind of just dipsy doodle our way for 5 minutes to force a shootout. It's like, no, you got 10 minutes. You might want to get going here. So if the NHL ever decided to go 10-minute 3-on-3, I don't think a lot of people would be upset, because I think that would be kind of getting teams a little bit quicker on the draw to end this thing early instead of drawing this thing out and then a shootout.
Yeah.
So,
but speaking of overtime,
another one.
You've got Finland versus Switzerland, and honestly, you tuned in and it was 2-0, and you're like, uh-oh, and you're getting into the third, and who better than our own reliable Mr. Sebastian Aho coming in clutch, getting that first comeback goal, really getting them on that pressure and getting them caught back up into the game. And then I'm not going to lie, my eyes were every time Fish was on the ice or in that overtime 3-on-3, my eyes were on him because, as Canes know, he is Captain Clutch when it comes to overtime. So Finland's kind of an interesting wild card. They can either really show up or they don't show up, and then all of a sudden they're like, maybe I want to play for a few minutes.
Yeah, it's like I made a prediction for the semis on the other show, and I'm like, I'm going to go against the grain a little bit, but Finland, Canada, that's going to be Finland. If Finland's going to play Canada like they played Switzerland, I don't think a comeback's involved. I think Canada's just going to just be like, okay, we had that scare. We're going to go take care of business in the semifinals. And if Finland starts on a slow game, that might get pretty ugly pretty fast, even with a Crosby-less Canada team. Finland's going to have to like come out of the gates on this one. They're a weird team, like you said, Kat. It's either they're on it early and they're dominating, or it's a slow start and you're like, what is happening type of deal. So I mean, yeah, we finally might get the Seth Jarvis, I want to fight fishy, like not literal, but it'd be fun if they did kind of like a why Iata just for the fun of it. But yeah, like I think both of these semifinal games are going to be fun to watch. I think if the quarters are dramatic, I can only imagine the semifinals, but
or it'll be the opposite where the quarters are really dramatic and the semis are not.
Yeah, hopefully not, but yeah, Finland better be ready or Canada's going to be like, yeah, we're going to bounce back from this scare and put some boots down on this one. So, but good on Fishy for scoring. He's had a good tournament. I know Rich is going to give us the stats here in a bit, but Sebastian, he's been playing pretty well so far for Finland this during the men's Olympics.
Got any stats for us there, Rich?
Yeah, I'll jump in now. 4 games played, 3 goals, an assist, and he's a +3. So, again, wearing the letter for a reason for the Finnish team. I think they get killed. As we know, Mikko Rantanen doesn't show up when it matters, unless it's against the Avs. So I don't think Sebastian Aho can carry him. That's just my 2 cents on that. Kat, play some Freebird. Talk to me about
the U.S.
Team USA. Yeah.
Speaking of, you're not sure what kind of team you're going to get with Finland. People are kind of right where they're like, all right, it's a good U.S. team, but are you gonna show up when you need to? I don't think if they play their next couple of games, well, Slovakia is kind of up in there, but they can't play Canada the way that they played Sweden. They just can't. Sweden's a really good team, but to only be up 1 goal and then to be, I understand 3-on-3, you're going to put your offensive defenseman out there. I understand that because, look at Quinn Hughes. Totally understandable. But if you're protecting a 1-goal lead and you're getting down under 2 minutes, you better be putting Slavin out there, him and Faber, as much as possible. And we didn't do that. And it ended up with a tied game. You get going to overtime again. And I didn't see a U.S. team that could beat Canada playing today. And maybe that's because they were a little bit of well, it's not Canada, we got this, it's fine. But look at Chelsea and Canada. Any team can pop off anytime. And you're gonna play Slovakia, who has been playing very good. You still have to get through them. You still have to get through one more team to get to the team you want to play. I don't know. The nuisance and the fight is to the team, but sometimes the scoring just doesn't feel the same as Celebrini is popping off. You don't even have to worry about there's McKinnon and there's McDavid. You're all right. And he had Crosby for a little bit. But the fact that now you have to worry about Macklin Celebrini just as much should make them a little bit nervous.
I mean, hey, a lot of people criticize Mitch Marner. He got the O-team winner. Canada's a very deep squad goaltending. I mean, yeah, they were a +17, but let's be honest, their group wasn't really the group of standouts that are going to make it very interesting for those guys. So, I mean, yeah, you're going to have to worry about Canada, but yeah, for the States, I don't know how you overlook Sweden. That like you said, Kat, that no way that game should have been 1-0 going down to 2 minutes left, and then Mika Zibanejad scores to force overtime. And you had a win with Quinn Hughes while you're seeing ghosts in Milan to go take care of business. It's if we're getting USA Canada in the gold medal game potentially, like there was a reality where both teams miss the semis and don't get medals.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been nuts if we were on that timeline.
I think both teams got a scare. I think US already was I think everyone had that scare themselves, and then the US got a little bit of a reality check today. I think Canada got their first reality check of, oh no.
Well, yeah, like I said, they had to lead for over 800 minutes in the tournament. Like they had a 17+ goal differential, which is absolutely bonkers through the first 3 games. But you talk about Slovakia, Kat. I mean, Slovakia won their group. Yeah, it was a 3-way tie. I think they lost to Finland, but goal differentials and head-to-heads, they still won the whole thing. And like I said, they beat the brakes off of Germany. And people are like, well, it's Germany. It's like Germany they weren't a slack team. Like, yeah, they finished second in Group C, but
sick uniforms too.
Yeah,
the uniforms are sick.
It's gonna be interesting. So I think the Czech and the Canada game opened the eyes of a lot of, not only did it kind of make Canada, I think, a little more nervous. I think it's opened the eyes to other teams too, because if you watch, you're like, okay, if this is how you play against Canada, then you've got a shot. And especially a lot of it was a mix of physicality. Again, you have Gudas going after all of the stars. It got very physical as much as you can without fighting, which, the US can do that. And then also speed. There's a lot of speed there on the Czech, and you can have some of that with these teams as well. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a wake-up call for teams the way the games went. But overall, loving another day of Olympic hockey. We're excited that we're going to have in our semis, we've got our Fish, we've got our Jarvis, and we've got our Slavo, who is we didn't talk a lot about him because, again, Slavo doing Slavo things. Multiple highlight clips of him protecting that 1-0 lead until he wasn't on the ice anymore. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We're gonna have at least 2 of our guys are gonna get a medal, probably no matter what. Maybe 3 of them will.
I mean, depending on who goes to the bronze medal game and whoever they're facing, there's a good shot these guys could be gold medal, which is good. But yeah, like I said, it'd be interesting between Finland and Canada, and like I said, the US. Don't overlook the Slovaks. That team is underlyingly scary. I mean, the thing is, they medaled back in 2022. That's without the NHL guys.
So quickly, then let's go through our predictions, starting with Finland, Canada. Who we have, I think Canada robs them.
I've got Canada. Unless it's a big upset, I've got Canada.
I'm going to roll with my prediction for my other show that I did for the Thursday show.
Oh, you got another show? You got another show? Third best Canes podcast?
I'll have Shane do the intro for you next time, Zach.
Yeah. Going against the grain, going with the upset.
Dang.
We'll see if Brandon shows up.
Who?
Good luck.
Who? All I know is Sebastian Aho. Who?
And Turbo.
Well, yeah, I mean, can't discredit Turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. U.S. Slovakia. They were my gold medal prediction. Play Freebird.
As much as they make me nervous, and there's people I don't like on the team, you gotta go USA all the way, baby. If you haven't watched Miracle on Ice, you gotta watch it before these games. Come on, people. Or the new documentary. We did watch that the other day as well.
Oh, the 1981. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I heard
it's very good. Sorry to interrupt the predictions. It's very good. Rich was like, "Hey, do you want to watch this?" And I thought he meant the movie, and then all of a sudden he turns on a documentary, and I was like, "Oh, okay." which is it's really interesting. And you get to hear from the players. I will say, as a disclaimer here, the Olympics, as fun as it is, and I understand the reasoning behind it, it is not the same without Russia. It is not the same.
No.
Like Canada-US rivalry, big thing. Taking out Russia is also a very big thing. So,
and you get the reason why you see France and Italy get the breaks being off from, but Italy is one thing, France is a different thing. Prediction. Do got some Slovak roots on both sides with me and my wife, but United States can't bet against the home state or the home country team, and they were my gold medal pick too. So, yeah, give me USA, Finland in the gold medal game.
So, for Kat and I, we're having a Four Nations rematch, as well as I'm sure previous other Olympic gold medal game rematches before I was a hockey fan, so I can't name off the years.
2010, Vancouver.
There we go. Perfect.
Golden goal. Sidney Crosby.
Kat and I, USA, Canada. Zach, Aho versus Slavin. Started off with Zach, the odd man out. Who are we going with? Which of the two Canes with the A's on their chest for the Canes uniforms come back with a G, which stands for gold?
I mean, it's kind of obvious. Give me one Mr. Jacob Slavin. Duh. What are we talking about?
So that means Aho's got silver for you.
Yeah, pretty much. And then if we had to pick a bronze, yeah, Jarvie. If he gets silver or bronze, like I said, if it's USA Canada, wouldn't be upset if that's the gold medal game too. But I think at least all three Canes guys bring home at least a medal of some sort.
Same. And I would say gold would be Slavo, silver Jarvis, Aho,
Bronze.
The same here. I do wonder, though, the one thing that I wonder, you look back to Four Nations being able to fight more, help pull the U.S. into that first game. I don't know how much not having that ability to fight will kind of hurt Team USA and having to play within the Olympic rules. So how do they find kind of that juice in that game, especially if it's versus Canada? That's a big question mark. But if you're able to find it authentically and organically, then I think they'll be fine.
Like I said too, don't sleep on Slovakia. This isn't a one-trick pony. This isn't a flash in the pan team. So if you want to, gold medal game is great. Do not overlook the semifinals. Do not fall into a trap game because you almost did it in the quarters.
Everyone almost did in the quarters. Well,
outside Slovakia,
Switzerland did fall into the trap game, unfortunately. But
the reverse trap game. They got Una reversed essentially.
But yeah, overall, excited for the last couple of days of Olympic hockey because you do have the women's finishing up as well. And then next week, we'll get back to our regularly scheduled programming where you're back on the team with the guys you just played against. And you got to get back into the groove of, okay, we're all on the same team for the Stanley Cup.
25 games in 47 days. And the thing, too, is the trade deadline is 8 days after they get back. So
that just means people have been cooking while the guys have been away.
And you come back playing the top two teams of the Atlantic, too.
Yeah.
Boom. In your face.
It's crazy to think that we're going to have 25 games in 47 days, and out of those 25, 10 are at Lenovo Center. So
yeah,
be ready for a sprint.
This I didn't realize either. So you get the top two teams in the Atlantic, both at home. You follow that up with your second West Coast trip coming up that first week of March. So home for some bruisers, sent packing on another road trip. They went all right with the State Fair road trip. So can they keep that same mojo for that, or will they have an old school Canes kind of falling apart deal.
Don't
Heading out to the West Coast.
Don't even put that out there. Don't even put that out there, Rich. How dare you? Don't even do that.
I'll put
I'm
this out there. I ain't saying up for all these games.
No, that's just outright impossible. But I'm glad that we're doing a show next Wednesday before they get back on the ice for the Thursday, Saturday games against Tampa and Detroit, because I'm hoping when we talk about the Thursday preview that someone gets a very big ovation as the starting goalie on Thursday night. And I'll leave it at that. So make sure to tune in next week when we start previewing Hurricanes games again. We're not talking about the Olympics. How's that for a teaser, Rich?
I love it. Come back. Join us again next week. I will have to lay off of the offseason talk, as fun as that was. Even though the trade deadline's going to come around, if anything pops up, we'll do our best for an emergency pod as well if there's a major trade. But for now, a little bit of calmness
Play
before
Freebird.
some Olympic medals get handed out. Yes, and hopefully a lot of Freebird is played over the next couple of days. But that's all for now. We'll see y'all on the next episode of the SurgeCast.